along with the phrase-by-phrase study that we're going through the book of 1 Corinthians, which is called the love chapter. Love chapter. You know, I've probably done about 100 weddings since I've been in ministry, and I still remember the first one I did. And I read 1 Corinthians 13. In fact, 90% of the ceremonies that I performed had 1 Corinthians 13 in it. But I remember my first one, and I'll tell you why in just a moment. It was here downtown. It was in the Fabulous 40s. It was a backyard wedding. It was a beautiful day, beautiful couple. I mean, they had the cello and the violin playing, you know, before the wedding, and they had the wedding march, and the father was bringing the bride down the aisle, and at the end I say, who gives this woman in marriage to this man? And the father said, I do. And they come forward, and you see the women, they're all tearing up and crying, and men holding back the tears. And, you know, as a pastor, you know, things are going well when you're getting these kind of emotional responses. And, and I start reading 1 Corinthians 13. Love is patient, love is kind. And all of a sudden, you hear this big roar. Brrr, and it's a lawnmower behind me. And you see guys jumping over the fence, trying to get to the guy and saying, stop, stop. You know, just ruin this majestic moment. And so, you know, I made a mental note at age 24. Said, anytime you do a backyard wedding, invite the neighbors. Because you know what? You don't want them starting their lawnmower, you know, during the ceremony. So I've always remembered that. But 1 Corinthians 13 is a wonderful passage. Some people think, though, that it was written for weddings or for some romantic candlelight night that you have, and you read that passage. It is a great passage about love because it shows the perfect love that God has. But that passage was really written as a rebuke, you know, by the Apostle Paul. The Corinthian church, which really has become the forerunner to all the future churches, and maybe the church of today, who are considered bad news as church, who are hypocrites. Because the Corinthian church, they were called Christians in Corinth, but they had division among themselves, and they were all saying, you know, following different people, and they started getting into their own groups and proto-denominations, and they're saying, I follow this guy, I follow that guy. And the Apostle Paul is saying in 1 Corinthians, hey, if I don't have love, all this is meaningless. I mean, if I can speak in tongues of men and of angels and not have love, I'm nothing. You know, I'm just a resounding gong. You know, if I can fathom all mysteries and do all these mystical things, power that comes from the Lord, like some of these guys said that they had those powers, you know, I'm nothing if I don't have love. And so it's a rebuke to the Christian church in Corinth to say, you guys got to stop it. You guys are messing up because you guys are supposed to be Christians following Christ. So that's the background, and I want you guys to read along with me 1 Corinthians 13, starting at verse 4. It'll be on the screen. Read this out loud with me. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It is not rude. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrong. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails.